And welcome to week 9. It is the Fantasy Football Start Shit Show with Ben and Matt from Blue Duck Fantasy Football, aka BDFF. We are here to answer all your questions. Short show today. We're going to be done at about 45 minutes, so make sure you get your questions in. You can see it in the ticker. Short show today. Get your questions in ASAP. Matt, the injuries, the big one is James Robinson is out. What do you feel Carlos Hyde is going to do in that role today?
It's going to be still. I would expect Buffalo is going to blow them out, right? So they're going to have to get away from the running game fairly early.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to try to control the clock with him a little bit. I don't know if they've got another back that they might throw in for receiving purposes.
Well, is Jamal Agnew not kind of that back / wide receiver?
He's a wide receiver, so I mean,
but he plays out of the backfield enough sometimes to be kind of that guy.
Yeah, I mean, they might just dink and dunk to him, but I mean, Hyde is outside my top 30. I mean,
yes, and we will talk about Hyde right now. I have him inside the top 20 just because he did catch passes last week. Like, he's not just the Carlos Hyde of old who just runs and doesn't catch any passes. Last week, he had 8 targets, caught 6 for 40. So to me, in a PPR environment, I'm not overly afraid of him. If he was kind of just like that runner that just runs and gets 30, 40 yards, I would be. But the fact, that's a really good sign last game against Seattle where they were trailing, which they will be doing again today against Buffalo, with James Robinson out for pretty much everything but 4 snaps. He got 8 targets. So I'm not as worried as you are about it. I think that he has more PPR-ness, a word we haven't used in a while, than he used to have. It's surprising, but it's happened to players where they just get better as they go on with their hands while their abilities kind of...
It might just be that they don't feel like they have another back to use in that situation either.
It could be. But, I mean, that's why I'm not overly afraid to start him. I have him inside my top 20, so he's inside the start range for both 10 and 12-team leagues.
I have him in my head as a non-pass catcher, and that's what he was for most of his career. So we'll see.
Who was it several years ago that we were shocked at his PPR-ness? Was it not Carlos Hyde? Oh, it was Leonard Fournette.
Fournette, yeah.
It was Fournette who became in Jacksonville, different coaching staff, different team completely. But he went from being basically the 2-down back who's never going to catch any passes to catching 6-7 passes in games. It was absolutely insane. But here we have a situation again where it could happen. Prior to that game, he only had 4 targets and 2 catches, but he also wasn't getting a lot of time. So I'm not overly afraid of him. If you do have Carlos Hyde in PPR, don't be too afraid of him. But let's talk about your favorite segment, and that's the weather forecast. Anything to watch out for today?
There's a little bit of wind in the games in Florida, which is one we just mentioned there, Jacksonville and Buffalo and Miami and Houston, but nothing that should be overly concerning. And they were saying a little bit of possibly a little bit of rain in San Francisco for the Cardinals and 49ers, but again, nothing too significant that's going to affect any of your decisions.
And the last time that San Francisco played in what was supposed to be a huge storm, both Debo and Pittman on the other side ended up having huge games. I ended up sitting both of them for the Bears wide receivers, and I don't want to talk about this anymore. Still would have lost, but would have had a whole lot more points. Your reaction to Thursday Night Football, your takeaways from that game?
I mean, Jonathan Taylor's making his case to be
the number 1 overall pick.
Pardon me?
Number 1 next year?
Well, he's in the conversation. I mean, I don't know if I would take him over I CMC or Cook or
Kamara. Still a lot of season left as well to see what these guys do. But yeah, he's gone into that top 5 conversation where he's part of that Kamara group with McCaffrey and Cook and Kamara and Henry, assuming Henry's back for next year. We do have a comment to get to. Stroke My Eagle is here. Welcome back, Stroke My Eagle. The Fook I start, CMC, Chuba, or Gaskin?
CMC.
I'm going CMC.
Yeah, CMC.
CMC, Gaskin, then Chuba.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets the full compliment today, but I do think that he gets enough that he's going to be pretty solid.
I don't think they put him out there unless they're confident that they're going to use him a lot. Like, there's no sense in that. So, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, coming back, hasn't played in a while. you don't want to push him too far.
Well,
I think
maybe he won't get 100% of the touches, but I don't think they're going to limit him that much.
No, not to that extent. I think worst case scenario, you're looking at a two-thirds share, like a 65% minimum. So I definitely think he's better than Gaskin. Gaskin is a decent start this week going up against Houston. But at the same time, that team just doesn't run that much. And he's been doing better catching passes recently, which he might not have to do today because they'll be up by so much and won't use them. But they don't have that many pass catchers in the lineup. Preston Williams is out. Fuller's out. Parker's out. They really only have Waddle and the tight ends.
Just a key. I don't know if they're going to even be winning by that much, to be honest. Really. I don't think they're going to blow out Houston.
I guess Tyrod's back, so Tyrod could have a good game there.
And there's no Tua, right? Like, it's going to be close.
Well, Tua is in the game, but he is not starting. Yes. So if you have Tua starting in your starting lineup, pull him out like I did, put in somebody else. I had Ryan Tannehill in one, and I put in Jacoby Brissett in another. I do have a question here from Instagram for you, Matt, specifically for you. Can you ask Matt Sutton, Gage, or Adrian Peterson non-PPR?
Somehow I doubt that was written like that.
Go ahead, go for Sutton.
Sutton, yeah. I mean, not definitely over Russell Gage and Peterson. I want to see it first before I put him in a lineup. In our dynasty, there's super flex. I had to take out Tua and activate Jordan Love for my practice squad.
Oh, really?
Squad. Yeah.
So you had to burn a roster spot.
It was that or run a position player out of the super flex.
True, it is a super flex league, so you did have that. Question about Thursday Night Football, and probably the biggest surprise of Thursday Night Football. Elijah Moore is a top blank wide receiver rest of season. Matt, where do you rank him?
40, 45.
Where do you rank him on the Jets rest of season?
I think Corey Davis will still be top dog when he comes back. So he'll be the second receiver. I think he might be overtaking Crowder.
That's what I'm expecting as well. I don't think Crowder is going to be particularly bad or anything. I just think that they'll probably eat into what each other would do. Like if one of them is not playing, then the other one is going to go up significantly. But when they're both playing, they're kind of both going to be, I'll have more probably higher. And then Crowder, but again, we'll see how the games go. But
again, it kind of goes back to like with Zach Wilson was looking more to Crowder than Elijah. So maybe when he comes back, it might go back to that. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just Josh Johnson, right? Who's the one who was looking for him?
Yeah. So. Well, he caught the first touchdown from Mike White. Yeah. So.
Mike effing White.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough talk about Thursday Night Football. Let's get into the games today and tomorrow as we discuss rankings that we don't have very close to each other. Starting off with Damien Harris, running back, New England, going up against the number one run defense of Carolina at Carolina. Matt, you have him 13. I have him barely inside the top 25 here at number 24. What is it that you like about Damien Harris? He has been playing well, but other backs have been involved. You think this is going to be a big game for him? Give me a prediction on his stat line.
They're not taking him out for passing downs really anymore. Like he's staying in there, so he's upped his PPR-ness as well. It's another player that's done so. So I don't know if Ramondre Stevenson was active or not today. I forgot to look at their inactives, but I
didn't see his name on the inactives.
No, but I he's an all situation type back, and I'm just looking at the names below him, like Elijah Mitchell, Booker, Darrell Williams. Like, no, I'd stick with Damien Harris over all these guys. For stat line, I mean, I hate doing stat lines, so we'll say like 90 yards, a touchdown on the ground, and like 4 catches for like
4 catches.
Yards. Yeah.
For a guy whose best this season is 2 catches for 30 yards, you're going with 4. I'm fine with the 90 and 1 since his last 3 games. He's had 80, 106, and 101. So I'm fine with your 90 and 1 because he's had 5 touchdowns in his last 4 games, 4 in his last 3. But I can't get behind that 4 number.
Oh,
So I'm going to move away from your 4 number and knock that down to 2, and then we're good. We got a comment here from Dustin Holland. Don Sweeney, Zach Ertz, or Patrick Freiermuth, tight end, PPR.
Don Sweeney is a hockey player, I believe, or old hockey player.
I was going to ask who the fook was Don Sweeney. Zach Ertz is going to be the answer here for me.
Yeah, Zach Ertz is the answer. I'm thinking that's the Sweeney from Buffalo, probably.
Could be.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go that direction.
I'd go Freiermuth before I'd go.
Yeah, he's definitely last on that list.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Darrell Williams going up against your beloved Green Bay Packers. Last week, he had a decent week, but there was an emergence of another player, a relative, possibly a Frank Gore, but possibly not. Same last name, having his breakout in his late 20s as a running back in the NFL. Not very common. Why are you so comfortable that Gore just goes away? Or do you think that Jordan Love will be so bad and the Chiefs will be so good that they'll just be running and running and running for like the second half of the game?
No, I just don't think it's going to be. I don't believe in this Frank Gore Jr. I think it's going to be just Darrell Williams. He'll go back to his normal role. I think that was
Frank
kind of
Gore Jr. You are aware of that, right?
I know, but I can't remember his first name. So.
There is a Frank Gore Jr. who will be in the league in like a year.
That's right. Yes.
So,
no, I'm not really overly concerned with Gore. So I think Kansas City is probably going to go back to a little bit of their normal offense with running Darrell Williams more than Gore. Maybe Williams was banged up, but nobody really said anything, but something has been going on to just bring this guy out of nowhere.
So there you have it. Matt thinks that Gore sucks. Last week was a fluke. Won't ever happen again. If you have Gore in your lineup, drop him, according to Matt, who hates anybody named Gore. Let's talk about Devonta Freeman, who I have as a almost top 25 running back in PPR. Oof. I know it's a split, but I feel like he's a little bit the lead, and he's usually the guy out there. I don't think what we saw last time they played, which was week 7? They were on bye last week? Or am I mistaken? I think they were on bye.
They're on bye last week, yeah.
Week 7 was the bye NATO. Last week was just the 2 teams. But the last time they played, all 3 backs scored a touchdown. I don't think they're going to blow out who they're playing today.
Minnesota.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I do like the potential of him getting a fair bit of points, which is why I like him as a high flex in PPR leagues.
No, there's too many mouths to feed, and I don't know. It's just very hard situation to trust.
It definitely is. And again, I like the fact that they're playing Minnesota, which is probably going to be a high-scoring game. But then I also said that the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game was going to be high-scoring last week, and that did not turn out to be a high-scoring game. So we'll see. But I think he's one of the better PPR backs. He's the better PPR back on the team. I don't think Lev Bell has that much left. I think his touchdown was pretty fortunate that nobody was covering him. And, I like him enough to put him up that high. Let's talk about somebody that you like, who I hate, and that's David Johnson. I mean, last week he did what? About as many yards as I did on the couch.
Yeah, that's it's going to be a way different game though than last week. I think it's going to be close. So and I don't think that Philip Lindsay's going to eat into him too much. I've got Lindsay quite a bit below him, and I think obviously Mark Ingram's gone, so DJ I think is going to be more the runner.
2 for 4.
It'd be interesting. It's a gamble for sure because we haven't really seen what they do without Ingram, but I think that's going to be a close game. Miami's run defense isn't very good. Let's see it, DJ. This is your chance.
So I think we have a bet here, right? A PPR bet?
Sure.
All right. Freeman versus Johnson. If you're watching, if you're listening, make sure you comment who you think is going to have more PPR fantasy points today. David Johnson for the Cardinals. David Johnson for the Texans, or Devonta Freeman for the Ravens. Let's talk about
remember.
Chase Claypool. Matt, last week we were flipped. Right. I was higher on him. You were lower on him. Then they had the game against Cleveland where not much happened. He didn't do that much. But now you're overly high on him. Why? What is it about Chase Claypool this week that has us flipping?
The number 30 pass defense in the league.
Okay. The Bears with no
Bears, without Eddie Jackson still. That's I think that's a very favorable matchup for the Steelers wide receivers this week.
Okay, so you're a believer. You think Ben is actually going to have a better week than he usually does as well, then, is what you're saying.
He'll have a slightly better, I guess. Like
Okay.
I think he's usually the pit, so.
All right. And
maybe Najee Harris will throw it.
We're going to go into bizarro land here to talk about this player. Again, like last week, I had Adam Thielen ranked quite high, which I don't usually have. Usually, you're going to be the one who's higher on this player as well. But for some reason, I'm on the Hollywood Brown train here at 20. He's been good. I feel like Lamar's been hitting him on the deep throws, and he's been getting that separation to make those catches. I have him as a start. You have him as a possible flex or a start in 3 wide receiver leagues. What are your thoughts on Marquis Brown? Is he just been getting the good games and now the bad games are coming?
I like him slightly better this morning now that I saw that Harrison Smith is out. I think that's going to help him. But so I would possibly bump him up a couple of spots here. And I just see that for some reason I missed Devontae Parker still in here, so I would have moved him up to at least 29. But anyhow, I'd move him up slightly. Again, a little bit inconsistent, though. I feel like it's going to be a Mark Andrews game. That's why I've stacked in my DFS with Lamar. So that's what I'm counting on for the Ravens. But
it's very fortunate that you mentioned DFS right now, because I did one earlier and I put 2 in. So I'm going to fix that up. While you talk about, I had a player I just wanted to talk about when you were saying something, and I've completely forgotten. So we'll move on to Jerry Judy, and hopefully I can remember. Matt, what did you see last week that made you think Jerry Judy is a top 25 wide receiver this week?
What did I? Not a whole lot from him last week, but I think he's getting into his rhythm. They're gonna, again, Cowboys pass defense not very good. I think that Diggs is going to be more on the Sutton train, so. We will see Jerry Judy as I think I'm a little bit more of a primary target. No Noah Fant this week either. So he should get a little bit more of the target share. And I'm a big fan of Jerry Judy's talent. So I think that is going to start to show itself here.
Yeah, like the talent. We've always liked the talent. I just don't think that the quarterback they have there is good enough to support the pass catchers. I think with Fant out, yeah, as you said, going to be a boost. Mm-hmm. This game, though, with the Broncos kind of giving up on the season with trading Von Miller away during the week, they're probably going to get routed. So it does make a possibility that garbage time will be a big friend to Jerry Judy this week. So not a terrible start for me, just some guys I would prefer over him. One of them is Darnell Mooney, who I somehow keep ranking at about the 30 spot, both these Chicago guys. I feel like Mooney is the number one asset there, like the number one wide receiver on this team, even though he hasn't done a whole lot more than Robinson. Mm-hmm. I just feel that maybe there's a better connection because he's got more targets. He's got more yards. I believe he's got more touchdowns as well, but I don't think either of them have that many touchdowns. It might be 2-1 or something. You have no interest in Darnell Mooney, wouldn't start him in any type of format.
Not really. Like, I mean, that's someone like I'd maybe consider on a DFS. He's kind of like that kind of guy where he might be cheap and do well, but not for a standard league. He's the Bears receivers in general, I just want to kind of stay away from.
And that's fair. I mean, like, they haven't been very good.
I got some non-fantasy related news, but it did make the news this week.
Oh, here we go.
According to Jay Glazer, the Packers will not be losing any draft picks, and Aaron Rodgers will not be suspended due to not following COVID protocols.
Really? No fines, nothing?
He didn't say fines, so there might be a fine still. But no draft pick. Like, there was speculation. Well, there was speculation they might get stripped of a draft pick, or so Rodgers would get suspended.
For one player not following protocols, or because they knew and they allowed him to?
I don't know. Like, I don't think that I never really thought he would get suspended for that, so I wasn't really concerned about it. But yeah, that was just came out. I guess he must have said that on the morning show. I don't know.
Well, that's good news for you, a Green Bay Packers fan. Good news for Rodgers that he won't be suspended. And
yeah, did you ever really think he'd get suspended for that though?
No, I didn't think they would suspend him, but I feel like because he lashed out at the protocols, I felt that he was going to get fined for that.
He might still get fined. I wouldn't be surprised if they fined him.
It'll be pretty hypocritical that they'll fine him for lashing out about the protocols, and if they don't fine him as well for not following the protocols, right? Yeah. So it's got to be like a double fine would make the most sense. And if the NFL is smart, that's what they'll do. But we'll see. I mean, he's one of the faces of the league as well. I did see that he lost in it. Like, I don't know if it was an endorsement or some type of thing with like a health place.
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, very interesting interview for anybody who hasn't seen the Aaron Rodgers interview on the Pat McAfee show this week.
Don't watch it. If you're an Aaron Rodgers fan, don't watch it. Like, really, like,
coming from an Aaron Rodgers fan to the rest of the world, don't watch it. If you're not an Aaron Rodgers fan and you want reason to dislike him, or maybe it'll give you a reason to like him. It really depends on where you fall on certain subjects. But Stroke My Eagle is back with another question here. You have a shot at Robinson or Boyd. Which guy will FUQ like a 10 today and help you clean out the pipes? I believe that's Allen Robinson and Tyler Boyd.
Well, that's the only Boyd, right? So, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of Robinsons.
Yeah, James Robinson's not playing, so. I'm going Boyd.
It could be a high-scoring game, but Chicago playing against who again? You said it was Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
I don't know. I prefer Robinson, but Boyd is the higher floor guy. I just don't think that there's a lot. So if you're looking for a guy who's going to FUQ like a 10 today, your better bet is Allen Robinson. If you're looking for a guy who's going to, FUQ like a 6, then it's going to be a Boyd.
If we're going to be literal, I would say Boyd's got a 100% chance of being better today.
Who?
Boyd has a 100% chance of being better today.
Wow, 100% chance. Bet again. We're going PPR standard on this one.
This is today. It doesn't matter because Robinson does not play today.
Oh, boo. Boo. The comments are booing you.
Yeah. As I said, we're for being literal about today. That's it.
Matt, why do you like Tyler Higbee so much?
Because I don't like a lot of the other tight ends. That's the most simple.
Such as?
I don't trust him more than let's see. Like Kittle, for example, just because of 50-50. He's playing half the snaps, they said, roughly. Hunter Henry, up and down. Freiermuth, Gamble, bad matchup. Who else? What? Dan Arnold, you're banking on garbage time.
You said it's going to be a close game.
I don't mind Jared Cook.
Question from Jesse.
I did not say that. I did not say Jacksonville Buffalo would be a close game.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got mistaken. Buffalo, Miami. Or Houston, Miami. Jesse's got a question. CMC or Patterson, full PPR. This is an interesting one because I like both.
I would go CMC. If he's playing,
I would as well.
I would still play him.
But, I mean, we have, I have Patterson at 17. You have him at 20. I have McCaffrey at 13. You have him at 6. You're a much stronger believer in McCaffrey than I am. But even
I don't think they would risk him if they had any concerns about him. That's why. You
don't think he could just be a decoy? Would that be the biggest letdown today, where he just goes out there to run around and doesn't actually
that would be
get tackled?
Given that they've had him out for 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it's been, I don't think they would use him in that.
So let's talk about Chuba Hubbard, who you have at 45. Again, I have him at 29. I wouldn't start him unless I was in a pinch and needed somebody. I think he gets about a third of the touches today. I don't think they want to overextend Christian McCaffrey. I think they want to, it's a hamstring, right? So could get aggravated early on. He could come in, play a couple snaps, and then whoop. So back to that question from Jesse. If you're looking for the high floor play, it's going to be Patterson, but we both like Christian McCaffrey over it. If you're looking at your matchup, you're playing somebody who's 1-7, complete garbage team. Go Patterson. You're playing somebody who's 4-4 or better. You're probably looking at going with Christian McCaffrey for that upside to win your league or to win the week. But I don't mind Chuba Hubbard if you're playing in a 12-team league and if you are playing in a non-PPR league to put him in a flex spot, because I do think he gets probably close to 10 touches. And they probably won't expect him to touch the ball when he's out there. So the defense might be like, okay, McCaffrey's not out here. It's Hubbard. And then, Hubbard's running. Oh, that caught us by surprise. So I can see him being okay in a pinch on either a bad team or, a team that's really suffering. But Not great.
That's no. For me, no. I think McCaffrey's just full on, like not full on, but he's like 80% of what he would normally do.
All right, so let's do 75-25. If he gets over 75% of the, what do you want, snaps or touches?
Let's go snaps.
So you're okay. So snaps. If he's over 75% of snaps, and Chuba Hubbard is under 25% of snaps, you win.
I guess. Well, but see, like they could both be on the field at the same time too, right?
How often do you think they'll run them both on the field at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay,
times?
So we'll go total snaps that they have. We'll add the percentages together, and we'll turn them into 100. Not a problem. So
I'll leave the math up to you.
Second or third bet of the week here. We had Chuba. We had this one. Freeman versus David Johnson. And I believe we had Robinson versus Boyd.
Correct? Well, that was just because of the date thing.
So do you want to do Robinson versus Boyd standard?
No.
Not
they're close. I have them both pretty close, so I'm
not confident in Boyd. I mean, why would you be?
I'm confident that Boyd will outscore him today.
A good tie. And then you would look very
that would be pretty sad, but yeah.
Matt, you got to leave out early today, so we got about 15 minutes left of the show. Sterling Shepard out, Saquon Barkley is out, so Daniel Jones going to be running. Going to get some mileage on those legs today is my take. I have him quite high at 11. Matt, you're at 18, not a believer. Why are you so low on Danny Dimes this week against the Raiders?
I have him on 17 on here. Not that that's a huge deal, but
yeah. This after I moved to, I have him at 10 as well.
Okay, but yeah, like he's missing weapons. I just don't think that he's going to be running a whole lot. Like, I mean, you can't really predict it, but like they won't have they won't have a ton of designed runs for him.
Don't they?
He is. Pardon?
Don't they though?
Not usually. Not that I've really noticed. Maybe a Giants fan on here could help us out with that, but I think they're gonna get blown out, to be honest, and I think they're gonna be passing, which is good for him, but it's not to the point where you can scramble and run around.
A team that's beaten the Saints, a team that almost beat the Chiefs or lost by 3. You think they're gonna get blown out by the Raiders?
The Chiefs are not very good on Monday night. We're not very good on Monday night. Be careful because
they beat the Saints, who beat the Bucs last week without their starting quarterback. So
no. I mean, yeah, maybe they keep it close, but I feel like Vegas is. I guess it's in New York, so that's a little bit more helpful. But yeah, I just don't feel super comfortable with Danny Dimes this week.
So one of the quarterbacks you have ahead of Daniel Jones is playing Daniel Jones, and that's Derek Carr.
What's wrong with Derek Carr?
Nothing's wrong with Derek Carr. I don't mind Derek Carr. Just bringing it up because they're in the same game, and you like him more, and I like him less. So I figured this would be another good bet.
Sure.
All right. Jones versus Carr playing against each other. When are they playing? Tonight? This afternoon? Today?
At noon, I believe.
All right. We have a question here from, let's say, Twitter, asking you, what are the top 5 games in the early slate that you would watch given any choice of any game?
Good Lord. This is off of you.
Twitter. What do you want me to say? It's Twitter. Twitter's going off.
Let's see. You got Vikings and Ravens.
Browns, Bengals.
Battle of Ohio. Yeah.
You think Texans Dolphins will be close?
Yeah, but I probably wouldn't watch much of that.
Falcons Saints got to be in there.
I don't know. Falcons are terrible
compared to the other games. I think it's got
Broncos Cowboys maybe.
I think that's probably going to be more of a blowout than anything.
Raiders Giants.
Raiders Giants, who you just said was going to be a blowout. Now you're back on.
Well, the early slot is not very good.
No, but is the afternoon slot even any better?
Like, well, I mean, I'm more curious about what Jordan Love does with Packers Chiefs.
So we have backup quarterback for the Packers, backup quarterback for the Cardinals, something we haven't spoke of, but Kyler Murray likely not going to play. DeAndre Hopkins likely not going to play. So a guy like Christian Kirk, guys like Rondale Moore should get a whole lot more targets today. could we see Andy Isabella today with AJ Green also out on the COVID list?
Yeah,
Or is there somebody else?
He could be active anyway. I don't know. Rondale Moore would be the one that I would play out of those guys, I guess.
Yes, but I don't think Kirk's that far behind. I think both of them are pretty decent starts this week because of the situation. Now, Colt McCoy isn't a fantastic quarterback, and definitely don't start him in fantasy unless you're in some type of 2-quarterback league where you desperately need a quarterback to start. Right. Like you had with Tua sitting, but you brought up Jordan Love instead of going out and picking up Colt McCoy.
I think McCoy is gone, actually.
Already gone, so that's interesting. Outside of that, I wouldn't touch Colt McCoy, but I do think he could put up like 200, 250 yards and a couple touchdowns, and that would make a decent day for those two guys, because who else is going to throw to? Zach Ertz?
Yeah, I mean, could be. Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds should catch a lot of passes. Yeah. Probably see a lot more touches for both Chase Edmonds and James Conner than they usually see. Maybe a 20% bump would be fair to say. We have a question here from Bars in the Tuck. Rank these as a full PPR stash going forward. Very interesting question. Don't get too many of these. Hyde, is that Samaje Perine? Sony Michel, Rojo, thanks. Okay, so I really like Sony Michel simply because in LA, they give that lead back all the touches. And Darrell Henderson is not the most durable running back. So as a result of that, I'll put Sony 1, but Rojo is fairly close at 2. Because that situation where Fournette and Rojo could flip, if Fournette's not playing that well, he didn't have a good game last week, you could see Rojo now being the hot hand, and they'll go with him. They don't care who they go with, and they didn't want to trade Rojo, so they clearly like him. After that, Carlos Hyde is not on this list. I guess I'll go Samaje Perine and then Carlos Hyde. I don't think Robinson's going to miss too much time.
Miss a lot? Like, that's tougher. Like, I mean, I'm on board with having Sony 1. I don't know if I'm on board with having Rojo 2.
You think Rojo's dead?
Well, I mean, they just don't. And to me, I don't think they like him that much. They just kind of went away with him in week 1 and haven't looked back.
There were teams that were interested in trading for him, and they didn't want to move him because they think
I heard that. But, I mean, I guess that might be insurance. Maybe they go to him, but I'm thinking Sony, Perine, then Rojo, I guess, and then Hyde.
Okay, so there you have it. So we just have Rojo and Perine flip, but we both have Sony Michel number 1. I have him in a few leagues where I'm just kind of – he's a handcuff, but he's like almost in their handcuff because I think Darrell Henderson probably gets banged up.
Yeah, for the reason that you said, yeah. If he goes in, he's going to be the guy. Yep. No question. Right? Yep.
And that's not 100% going to be the case anywhere else. Like perhaps today with Hyde, they'll give it to him. And like we talked about earlier, I do like Hyde today, but Hyde's getting up there. So a long-term asset, rather have like rest of the season asset. Sony Michel is the guy. Thanks for the question. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're here every week for at least 45 minutes or 40 minutes or so. Matt, how much time do we have left before you have to run off to go watch Beauty and the Beast or whatever you're doing?
I'm going to say probably roughly about 10 minutes.
So you won't be watching any football in the early window?
No, I should be home by 3 or so. In time to see the late games.
In time for the late games. So what fantastic movie are you planning to see today with you and the family?
We are supposed to be seeing the Addams Family movie.
Is that not going to be too scary for your child?
I didn't make the plans.
So you can't get in trouble. That's how you play it. You're just like, not my decision, not on me.
Well, and it was. My wife said that our daughter picked the movie we're going to see with.
Interesting.
So we'll see. There's that and some other cartoon. It's a cartoon movie. I don't know.
Oh, it's a cartoon movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't follow the Addams Family movies. Yes. I just remember the live one with the people.
Yeah. No, this isn't a cartoon, so
should be safe then. Is it a G-rated movie?
I will check because we don't have a whole lot more to talk about, I guess.
Oh, we don't have anything else to talk about other than the Addams Family movie that is rated NC-17. Wow, interesting choice. This is the Addams Family 2 movie? Have you seen the first one?
No.
So she's not going to understand any of the references to the first movie.
She's also 3, so I don't think it matters.
Well, it's about continued. I can't say continued. I can't even say the word. Yeah.
PG, it says.
PG. Ooh.
Yeah. So.
Some adult subject matter there.
Whatever.
Matt, it's 11:35. We got 2 people watching. One of them is probably you. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Do you have any last minute sleepers for people? I have a couple. I have a guy. We didn't get the questions today. We usually get who's gonna drive it through the ceiling. And to me, that guy today is Zach Moss. It is going to be the guy who is just like hammering away in there. Couple touchdowns, maybe 3, about 80 yards, running 40 yards on the ground. I bet the over on the prop bet on how many total yards he would have. Let's see if I can do better on these prop bets than last week. But good news, the site that I'm using gave me a free bet. So I don't know which one I used the free bet on, but I did use the free bet. And I'll go over the bets that I had. I got Brian Edwards over 3.5 catches.
I was going to say that was actually who I was looking at for a potential sleeper today.
Give me 4. I got Jalen Waddle over 5.5 receptions. I mean, who else is going to catch passes? It's Jalen Waddle. He's going to catch.
I would have felt better about that with Tua, but yeah.
And then I got Nico Collins, my deep sleeper of the week, over 2.5 catches in this game. I've been feeling Nico Collins all week, and if it doesn't work out, I am never going to go with my gut on something again. I also have Jarvis Landry at over 5.5 catches in a game that I think should be high scoring. Right?
Should be
high scoring. Peoples-Jones is a little banged up. Odell Beckham is pretty much cut. Going to be on waivers next week. And I don't see where the other bet is because I did have another one, and I don't remember who it was. But we do have a comment here from T_S, Flex 1 PPR, Julio, E. Sanders, Melvin Gordon. I think I'm going to take Julio here.
It's either Julio or E. Sanders.
Yeah.
Where's E. Sanders on here? Yeah, I think it's Julio for me as well. I can't find E. Sanders on our list for some reason. There he is. Yeah, it's Julio.
Julio is the question there, or the answer there. Thanks for the question. Dustin Holland back with another question. Brandon Ayuk, Callaway, Galladay, Mooney, choose to standard.
I would go Galladay.
Give me Galladay.
And I would go Ayuk.
I would not.
Those 3 are probably within 4 spots of each other.
I would go Mooney. Jack K with the question here. Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill both playing elite defenses. Tannehill going up against the Rams, which I was going to say. And then Cousins going up
against Ravens. I would go Cousins.
Pardon?
I would go Cousins.
And is that what your rankings say? Yeah, we both have Cousins as 9, and Tannehill is ranked 10th, but he's 3 spots behind for both of us. So Kirk Cousins is the answer there, Jack K. Make sure that like and subscribe. And thank you so much for coming out and with the question. We got more people watching now, Matt, so we're going to keep it going. I'm trying to find this last bet, unless I've already talked about it. It's not showing me the bet. It's really annoying. I'm going to my bets now. I better show it. And it still won't show it. I don't know why it won't show me the free bet that they gave me. I think it was a total yards thing. Which was the one I said total yards is going to? It was Zach Moss. So that was the one that I did on that with the total yards being over. I don't have the number, but I could probably find it if you give me just a second. Where are you, Zach Moss? Player props. Let's go with player rushing and receiving yards. Zach Moss, 62.5. So, I mean, I think he's going to easily go over that in this blowout of a game against the Jaguars. If there was one for pass attempts, you should probably bet the over on Trevor Lawrence, right? I mean, player passing attempts, Trevor Lawrence is at 36.5. You'd think in a blowout he's going to be over that, right? It's a high number.
Yeah.
But if you want to look at Trevor Lawrence's stats,
you'd think, but I mean, at the beginning of the game, they're probably going to run a lot to try to keep the Bills' offense off the field, right?
So last week against Seattle, how many pass attempts do you think he had?
44.
54. Oh,
Wow.
very close. Yeah, off by 10. And again, the line today, 36.5. The week before, in a tight game that they won against Miami in London, so I guess 2 weeks before, he had 41. He had 51 against Houston the first week where they got blown out. Other than that, he's been 33, 34, 24, 33 for that 4 stretch where they lost 4 in a row by 10, 12, 3, and 16. Sorry, 18. So it is a bet where it's just like, but if the game is like the Seattle game, 31-7, they don't have their lead running back in. I like the going over. I think he's going to be over 40 today.
I think, over 36.5 seems right. I mean,
the line on it, not the best, minus 125 instead of a minus 110.
I'm not good at prop bets, so don't listen to me on that.
No questions from Instagram. No questions from Twitter. A question here from, let's say, Discord. Matt, what is your favorite pizza topping that isn't pepperoni?
Does cheese count or no?
No, of course not. Sauce doesn't count either. Neither does crust. What is this?
I'll go bacon.
Bacon. Now, do you like strips, crumble?
I'm okay with either. If I had to pick, probably strips. I like it when I see strips on there.
Okay. Second question, follow-up question on pizza toppings. Do you prefer pizza toppings on top or below the cheese layer?
So like if it's like the Chicago style, like the really deep dish, it should be
obviously. That's obviously it has to be underneath because that's basically a lasagna.
But other than that, I would put it on top. Yes.
I'm the opposite. I'm all for underneath. I
like extra sauce too, so you're weird.
There's nothing wrong with liking extra sauce
and little light cheese.
Yes, that's the main reason why I like the cheese on top. So if there's too much, you can just yank it off. Matt's got a question for Matt. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, Matt. He's got a question as well. Beasley or McNichols for flex? Give me McNichols.
Yeah, McNichols for me as well.
Dustin Holland is back with the last question of the day, possibly flex and standard. Dylan or Marvin Jones Jr. Whoa.
I think the Packers are going to be trying to run a lot.
I think so too, but if they get behind, they won't be able to. We know for a fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be looking to pass a lot. So
I'm still going to go AJ.
I'm going to go AJ because it's standard. If it was PPR, even after PPR, I would take Marvin Jones, but I'll go with Dylan, who I looked at today and thought this guy's also going to be doing pretty well today. Matt's asking, Matt, also, how do you guys like Tannehill tonight? We don't love him. We have him in our top 10. Well, actually, neither of us have him ranked in our top 10, but he is in the 10th spot of our consensus ranking. We have him just outside at, I believe, 11 and 12. Yeah, I have him at 12. He has him at 11. So he's an okay start. I'm starting him in the league where I have Aaron Rodgers out. I was going to start Tua over him, and then Tua is not in. And in the league where I had Tua, I'm starting Justin Herbert in his place, so not losing much there. Tannehill's okay, not the best, but without his star running back, should get a lot more opportunities, and I can see him running a bit more too.
The next question is Tannehill by a lot.
Yeah, it's Tannehill by a lot. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it always. Thanks, Matt, for stopping by. Make sure that like button and subscribe, and we are going to wrap it up so that Matt can go watch The Addams Family Part 2. Not going to know any of the context in the first one, so next week we will have Matt talk about what he thinks the first Addams Family movie is about. I will watch the first Addams Family movie so that I know when he's wrong. And Matt, anything left to say other than your normal thing?
Thanks for watching and thanks for listening, and hopefully you did both.
That's it.